Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are in the yard at the office and I'm surrounded by gearboxes. So I have these two gearboxes here and I have the one over there which came out of the Volvo, which originally came out of a Focus ST. So this episode might be a little bit geeky, but I think it is interesting because I can't see that anyone has done something quite like this. Basically what I want to do is to slow my car down. The Focus gearbox with my new wheel and tyre combo at I think 7,500 RPM is doing well over 200 miles an hour. I don't need to go that fast. I want to shorten those ratios down. The ratios themselves are good, I just want to change the final drive. And the plan is to replace these three shafts and to replace the crown wheel with one from this gearbox here. So this gearbox is not out of a Volvo, it's not out of a Ford, it's actually out of a Land Rover Freelander. Now they use an M66 gearbox as well, and the final drive ratio for this is 4.533. The one in the ST gearbox is a 4.0. Now I have been looking around and there is an even shorter one available. It's 4.786, and that is out of a four-wheel drive Volvo XC60 between 09 and 15. Finding that gearbox is relatively difficult because they are a little bit rare and cost of those are quite expensive still. This one here out of a Freelander, very local to me, found it in Portsmouth. It was £90, so I picked that up yesterday, and hopefully when I open this up I will find shafts the same length as this and a crown wheel that will fit onto my gripper diff. Fingers crossed, because this is an all-wheel drive gearbox. Obviously I have a front wheel drive gearbox on the car. I am hoping that these parts are interchangeable. There is another gearbox here, and the reason why I have this gearbox, which is out of another Focus ST, cost me 50 quid, very local again, Chichester, not too far, is because, see these gears here, you can see these ones are absolutely mullered. So that is 5th and 6th out of my gearbox over there. The reason why they are broken is because to get them off of that shaft there, I had to use a press, and my press over there was not man enough, it was just bending it. So I took it to a mate of mine, Gary's, we tried it on his, we then broke these teeth. I then took it somewhere else that had an 80-ton press, and it took about 35 tons to get 6th off the shaft. Fortunately, I was able to get 6th and 5th off of the shaft without any further damage. I'm hoping once I've got the gears out of this and this, I can take the gears off without any damage, put them together, stick them all in that box over there with my gripper diff. I should hopefully have a short ratio 6-speed gearbox from a Focus ST to go in my Volvo. As simple as that. So this gearbox, I've already taken all the bolts out. I'm just about to split it and find out whether this might actually work. Well, it's all looking very familiar, but the diff does look different. Still don't know whether this can work. Right, with the casing off, first thing I can see that is different is this crown wheel, which worries me a little bit because I need to reuse that. Now normally I'd be seeing the heads of the bolts and the diff on top. The crown wheel is normally bolted from the underside. So if I go over to my gearbox, if I lift up this casing, there you go. Now I'm really hoping I can unbolt this and basically invert it so the diff is on the other side, because crown wheel is threaded. Hopefully I'll be able to bolt it through from the opposite side, and that works. So these are the three shafts that I am looking to retain, and everything else looks very similar. Hopefully all of that works. I'll take these out now and compare them to my gear stacks and see how they line up. So there we go, there's all the gear stacks side by side. These are reversed. This is 3rd and 4th, and this is 1st, 2nd, 5th and 6th. Obviously my shaft
sounds a bit rude.
Doesn't have any gears on it, but you can see they're all the same length, which is good news, and everything is relatively similar. And if we look down here, these are the pinions, and they are part of the shaft, and they are matched to the crown wheel. If we look here, this is off the Land Rover. That has less teeth than this one. That determines the final drive ratio, so that's why I need to change these shafts as well. I can't just change the crown wheel. Next thing, take that diff out and see if that crown wheel fits on my diff. So this is both diffs out the box. This is Land Rover, this is my gripper out of the ST box, and you can see the differences. This has got an extra output on it, which is where the transfer case bolts to the side of the gearbox. Both these crown wheels are at the same height, but this one bolts onto the opposite side of the diff. Hopefully when this ring gets bolted onto the top of here, it will sit in the same place. I'm going to take those off and see if they can get swapped over. Yeah, that would go on there, and the PCT is the same. The one thing that we have just discovered, Nick is behind the camera, is the bolts that hold the diff and the crown wheel together, they are a different thread. So unfortunately the one that came off the Land Rover has a bigger bolt, which means that it won't pass through my diff to mount the crown wheel, which is a little bit upsetting. We're going to have to figure out what we can do with that. It's promising in the sense that they do fit together and it looks like the offset is the same. I will measure that and double check. All I've got to do is work out how I can bolt these two together. That is the new ST gearbox split open, and interestingly, if you look in there, Volvo written on the diff. I think it's got Volvo on the casing as well. Funnily enough, this Land Rover gearbox, if we come down here, Ford Motor Company. So it's funny, I've got these two gearboxes here, that gearbox over there on that shelf, there's a BMW gearbox in here, and there's a BMW DCT box over there. Two Ford ST gearboxes, Land Rover Freelander, two BMWs, none of which I've ever owned the car to. It appears that I collect gearboxes for cars that I don't actually own. All I need out of this gearbox, these two gears to replace those two broken ones. I'm going to get those removed, and then I've got Land Rover gears in there. Need to split them and then build something into one box. I am still on the lookout for the Volvo XC60 all-wheel drive box, because I do ideally want to make the gear ratios as short as possible. You'll probably be wondering why I've bothered going through the effort of getting this gearbox and splitting it and so on and so forth. 90 quid, it was local. I now know that it's possible to do this. I didn't want to buy a £500–600 gearbox, split that, and then find out it's a waste of money because it's never going to work. At least now I know that it's going to work. If I can't get hold of the Volvo gearbox, I will just use this one and use the 4.533 final drive. At the end of the day, in sixth at 7,500 RPM, there is only a 10 mile an hour difference. Top speed is 179 mile an hour. It's 169 mile an hour using the XC60 final drive, which still is faster than I really want it to be, but that is as good as I can get it for the minute without going for a custom gear set, which I can't afford. Be very nice. Quaife do make a full sequential box for the Focus ST, and that would fit in my car just nicely. So if anyone's got one of those and wants to donate it to me, you are more than welcome to do so. But at the moment, that's kind of the plan. I'll let you know whether I can get hold of this Volvo gearbox. In the meantime, I'm gonna get those gears off, throw the rest of this shit in the bin because I don't need any casings. They're all gonna go and skip, just gonna take what I want and get this all cleared up. All right guys, it's a few weeks later and I've managed to snag myself an XC60 all-wheel drive gearbox, and this is from a 2012. It had about 85,000 miles on it, and fingers crossed this has got the final drive that I'm after. So I managed to get this for £279 delivered, so it was a bit of a bargain, but that's all money down the drain if this is not the right one. So I'm going to crack this open, check that it's the right final drive, and hopefully the ring gear fits directly onto my diff without any messing around. So I'll catch up with you guys in a sec, and yeah, fingers crossed this is the one. So there we are, confirmation. I have got the right gearbox in terms of ratio, but the crown wheel won't fit directly to my diff in the way that I hope. It does physically fit onto the gripper diff, but these bolts, they don't actually fit through the diff. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to open those up. It is very marginal. I think these are something like an M11. Bolts in the diff are definitely M10s. These are just fractionally bigger. So yeah, it's no big deal, but I didn't want to drill out the diff using the Land Rover final drive because I knew that this was the final drive that I wanted to use, and there was a chance that this crown wheel would have fitted directly onto my diff using these smaller bolts. But we do now have all the shafts that we need. We do have all the gears that we need to make a gearbox that will have the higher final drive ratio that we are after. I'm going to get all of this to a press and get everything pressed off, pressed on, and ready to go. So on the table, I've got the Ford gear set and the XC60 gear set. I've already started to strip the gears off of the shafts. This is the reverse, and that's quite easy. You basically undo this, and these bolts are reverse thread. And basically, once you've undone that, you can easily just press these off. The only thing that is restraining it is the bearing, whereas on this one there is a collar that gets pressed around here, which then makes this a little bit more difficult to remove. These ones here, we have to use a big old press to get these off. I'm going to be leaving these two for the minute, but in the meantime I'm going to get these gears off of these shafts and exchange with these gears. So this is the shaft that we want to be using, so I'll get rid of the ST1 for the minute, and it's just a case of dropping this gear onto this shaft here, trying to keep it all together. I didn't want that to happen. Right, so that is now pressed on there. Didn't take much effort at all, and then it's just a case of getting that bearing pressed back on there. There we go. ST gear, 5.0 shaft. Easy as that. So that is another gear complete. So that is 2 out of 3. This is the last one to strip and rebuild. I can't do that until I have gone over and used the big press. Hopefully I don't break these gears off like I did the first time round. So we are picking up from some time ago now, and these are the 2 gears off the Focus ST, and as you can see the shaft is still inside, so I've just cut that end off because I didn't need the rest of the gear set or the shaft or anything like that. So that will now allow me to land this gear onto a platform so I can press the center out. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get those 2 gears off now without breaking them and without doing this to them. So those 2 gears are pretty knackered. They are basically what I've got in here still in the shaft. And then here is the XC60 shaft. I was struggling to get this off, but you can see these shiny bits now. I've actually had this on the lathe and I've put some grooves in there, so I'll be able to get a tool in there to get these pulled off. And once I've got these off, I'll be able to get the rest of this off, which means that the shaft is then free to fit the rest of these gears on. So that will all be done. So I'm going to take all of this to go see Andy at Motorsport Services in Bishop's Waltham, use his 80-ton press, and hopefully get these out without breaking it. Well, guess what, guys? I fucked up. I thought I got everything working. I put everything onto this shaft like it was supposed to be. Everything was in the right order, except that either the bulk ring or the synchro hub were misaligned, and basically the tabs weren't fitting into the right slots. One of the gears, I think first gear, was completely bound up. So then I had to take it back to Andy's to use their press again. I knew what I was doing, everything was going really smoothly, and then, so you can see there, that tooth is broken, and that one there has a big chip out of it as well. So yeah, basically I fucked up the shaft that came out of the Volvo gearbox, which was, one, difficult to find, two, relatively expensive. So first thing I did, go on eBay, managed to find this one that I have down here. Managed to pick this one up for £244, untested. So I'm going to get this stripped down, take that shaft out, take the ST gear set that I've got here, put them all together, and hopefully not fuck this one up, because this is starting to get expensive. You've seen how many gearboxes I've got. It's getting a little bit out of hand how many gearboxes, gear sets and casings I've got all over here. So I've got 4 here, 3 there, 1 there, got 1 in the car at the moment, and I've thrown some away. I did also have 2 standard gearboxes, the M56s, which was the original out of the Volvo, and also out the donor Volvo. So yeah, I've gone through essentially 9 gearboxes in the space of a couple of years. And yeah, I hope this works, because yeah, this is getting a bit tiring. Anyway, I'll crack on with this. So there we go, I've split this box up. This is becoming an all too familiar sight, unfortunately, but I have just double checked to make sure that the number of teeth on this shaft and this shaft are the same, because this is the one that I need and this is one that broke. So yeah, this is a replacement shaft, so I've got to press all of this off and then press on all of the SD gear set. So I am going to do that now, and hopefully not going to fuck this one up. Right guys, a little roundup, because I don't know where this video is going. This has been filmed over around about 6 months, maybe more, and I can't remember what I have filmed, what I haven't filmed, what's happened along the way, because it's been so long. Just to recap a little bit, I have taken a box apart, I've broken a box, I've bought another box, I've broken a box, I've bought another box, got the bits out that I need. Then I also bought a Volvo box, broke the bits out there that I needed, bought another Volvo box, and I've managed to get those bits out. It's all gone together eventually. Thank you very much, Andy, for letting me borrow your press. Really helpful. This is it. We are going to be putting this thing together. We're in the garage. Everything's all cleaned up. Didn't want to bore you with that. One thing that I do need to do is I need to drill out the diff. So this is what we're going to be doing in a bit. These holes have got to be drilled out to 11mm so I can fit the M11 bolts into there. Casing there, half casing, other half of the casing here. As you can see, nice and clean. These are all the gear sets. This is original to this box, and these 3 shafts are from the Volvo XC60. This is also from the XC60 box, and it's all going to go together, and I'm going to be using the XC60 shifter tower as well. You'll see why in a later video. Got some new bearings to go onto this shaft here, because that one had to get removed, so new bearings on that one, and then it all goes together. So yeah, sorry if this video is jumping around a little bit, but hopefully we're coming to the end of this. This is going to get built. I'm going to set up the camera, we'll do a time lapse, and hopefully tonight this thing is in one piece. So catch up with you guys once we've got that done. So there we go, guys. That is it, done, finished. Just needs to go back in the car when that is ready. You'll have seen I've got these AN banjo fittings here on the filler and the drain. That is because I'm going to use that for an external oil cooler which has got a 12-volt scavenge pump. So it's basically going to be run by the ECU. I tapped a hole in the front of the casing just over here to fit a temperature sensor, so when the ECU senses that gearbox is getting a little bit hot, it'll turn on the pump and it will go to an external oil cooler that is going on the front of the car. So that's it. Short ratio M66 6-speed gearbox from a Focus ST, which is going into my Volvo S40. I won't actually know whether this works until I drive it, I suppose. Anyway, that is the end of this video. I know it's been a long one. I know that it's going to be all over the place, but I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.